The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's WordStream webinar, Top 10 CRO Hacks of All Time. My name is Callie, and I'm just here to get things started. I want to start by getting all the logistics out of the way so we can get straight to the fun and learning. Following today's presentation, you'll receive an email with both the slides and recording. So if you miss anything, don't worry about it. We'll send that out later. And you can share it with colleagues or review it again if you wish. We'll also have dedicated time following Erin's presentation to answer some questions. So definitely submit your questions throughout the webinar and we'll get to as many as possible. Now for those of you who are not familiar with WordStream, we are a search marketing software provider with both free and paid tools to help you easily grow your AdWords and Bing campaigns. So if you're looking to master PPC or just learn anything more about what it's all about and how to get started, we definitely recommend you checking out our PPC University at wordstream.com/learn. We also encourage you to be social throughout the presentation today and join in on the conversation. You can use our hashtag CRO Hacks, and you can also follow at WordStream and today's presenter, Erin Sagin. Now I'm going to pass it over to Erin, and I'm very excited to introduce her today because she was recently named the 3rd most influential PPC expert by PPC Hero. So go ahead, Erin, take it away.
Hi, Callie. Thanks so much for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us today. As Callie said, my name is Erin. I manage the customer success team here at WordStream, and I thought I would kick it off with a couple random facts about me so you know who you're talking with. So as you can see, I obviously am an avid hula hooper for my picture. I also have lived in 6 different cities in the last 6 years, ranging from beautiful places like Cuba and Miami and DC, all the way up to Boston, which is where I am now here with WordStream. I played the piano and the saxophone competitively as a child, and unfortunately can barely read music at this point. And I also, when I'm not at WordStream, working on my PPC skills, I moonlight as a bartender at night here in Boston. All right.
Great.
So I'm going to turn it over to Callie to do a quick poll with you guys.
So before Erin dives right into the content, we definitely wanted to learn a little bit more about you guys today. So we want to know what your current conversion rates look like. Are you ranging between 0 to 2%, 3 to 7%, 8 to 10? Are you totally hitting it out of the ballpark with over 10%, or are you just really not sure at this point? So the results are coming in. Erin, what do you think the majority will be?
I would definitely venture to say between A and B. Hope it's higher, but the average is definitely lying a little lower.
All right, well, let's close this out and share the results with our audience today, and it looks like you are right. About 35% are 0 to 2, while actually a large majority actually just don't know what they're at. So hopefully today you'll give them some pointers on how to figure out how they can start tracking them and increasing them along the way.
Absolutely. All right, so that leads me perfectly into what does a good conversion rate actually look like. And this is funny, I mean, I kind of knew the answer where your averages lie, so I cheated a little bit on that first question. But as you can see, we looked at over 100,000 AdWords accounts here at WordStream, and we saw something really interesting. And that was that the majority of us lie around 2.35%. So for those of you who are at that point, I want to stress upon you the fact that you can really do better. Like, don't feel like you've hit the ceiling just because you've hit the average, because the top 25% of accounts are scoring over 5% conversion rate. And those top 10, those huge, like, special outliers are making it all the way up to 11.45% and above. The top 10% landing pages are actually garnering 5 times the average conversion rate of the average landing page. So what we're going to focus on today is how you can start to take your scores from whatever that average may be for you and really boost them to achieve some of those higher levels. And if you put it in perspective, this is how I like to think of it. If you're scoring around a 2.35%, you're like a one-hit or a unremarkable singer. You're like a, you know, a D-list celebrity like Paris Hilton. And then people who are scoring in that top 25 percentile, you know, maybe think of them as a Jessica Simpson. But what you really want to be aiming for is that superstar status, the J-Lo, you know, top 10% or higher, one of the best conversion rates out there. And we know this is possible. For those of you who aren't sure of your conversion rates, this is absolutely critical. You really want to get a sense for where you are so you can start to figure out what you're at, what your ability to move forward is, you know, how much you have the capacity to improve those scores. And first, you need to know where you lie. If any of you guys are having trouble defining conversions or setting up conversion tracking, that's definitely something I won't be covering on today's webinar. But if enough people comment on it or are interested in it, I would definitely be more than open to doing some sort of seminar on that next time. All right, so for those of you who do know where your conversion rates are and you are around that, you know, 2% mark, you're probably thinking, there is no way for my industry that I can score, you know, over 10% conversion rates. That's just out of the question. You may think you're the exception to the rule, but in reality, nobody is. This rule seems to stand firm. So yes, those percentages, we may tweak them a little bit, but what holds true is the top 10% of accounts convert 3 to 5 times higher than the average. So if you're in the average for your industry, there is room to grow, and let's talk about how we can do that. So how do you take an unremarkable landing page and make it into that superstar J-Lo status? Here are my top CRO hacks to do so. So the first one is you have to have this mindset to go big or go home. One thing that I've noticed is the classic A/B test is a complete fairy tale. It's really frustrating, right? We make these small changes. We change the font type, the spacing, the color, and we think we're doing really well. You know, we make that change, boom, we see a little bit of an uptick in conversions. But don't celebrate too quickly, because in reality, that early lead disappears and the gains don't persist over time. They may give you a slight uptick, but it's not going to be game-changing. So why do so many of us obsess over these small tweaks, like a button change, just a quick picture change, font, spacing? Like, these are minute tweaks. And the reason that we're focused on these and that we continue to fall into this pit is it's so easy to believe what you want to believe. We have this almost syndrome of premature optimizitis, right? We're like, oh, well, I made this change, and in the first week, I saw this uptick, so pat myself on the back. I've made it. I figured it out. You're lying to yourself if you truly believe that those small changes are going to be hugely impactful on your account. Think of it this way. The little effort that you put in, it's pumping out very little results. It's essentially making a bunch of small changes and ignoring the big problems. So what I want you to think about is bigger is always better when it comes to making changes in your account. You should be aiming for changes that are giving you that 3 to 5 times increase rather than just teeny tiny 3 to 5% increase in conversion rate. Which brings me to number 2, and we're going to start at the beginning of the funnel here, which is eliminating unqualified PPC traffic. So when we think about conversion rates, the way we determine that conversion rate is we take the number of captured leads divided by the total visitors times 100%. Now, look at the top part of that funnel, that big blue area of website visitors. Think about it. If you can change that segment and really, really hone in on it and only bring qualified searchers to your site, you will automatically spit out higher conversion rates, right? It's like the law of math. So let's talk about a couple things we can do to ensure you're really only bringing qualified traffic to the site. So when it comes to PPC, this is probably not an uncommon scenario. Someone specifically looks for next day delivery prom dresses. They get a crazy ad that's saying in the headline, next day delivery prom dresses. It's talking about prom dresses delivered within 7 days. And then you actually make it to the website, and it's like a total buzzkill. Not only because they don't even offer next day dresses, but the landing page they're sending us to is all of their prom dresses. Meaning you can look at that blue one, fall in love with it, and then realize it's not even a 7-day, let alone next day delivery, right? That's totally frustrating. And the second that searcher gets to the site and puts 2 and 2 together, they're going to hightail it out of there. They're probably not even going to click on those fast shipping prom dresses because they've come here, it's clear that they don't have what they want, they don't want to explore it. They go right back to the SERP looking for something new. That kills your conversion rate. The more unqualified traffic you bring, the more you shoot yourself in the foot. It's really painful. It's like, you know, especially if your boss is looking at these numbers or if you're working with it as an agency, showing this to your client, it's really embarrassing to be bringing a bunch of the wrong traffic to your site. So there's a couple important ways to eliminate that. The first one is really honing in on the keyword choices and targeting settings that you're using. So when you think about keywords, think about only including keywords that have the appropriate intent, ensuring that you're actually capturing people who are looking for a good that you're selling and are in your target market. Then you want to make sure that your targeting settings are appropriate. So look at your geographic targeting and look at your time of day targeting. It blows my mind how many e-commerce sites I find that set their targeting to all around the world, and I only later find out that they only ship within the United States. What a waste of traffic, what a waste of PPC dollars, and what a disastrous impact that can have on your overall conversion rate, right? Same goes with time of day setting. You know, you can very easily manipulate your targeting to ensure you're only showing ads during times that your store is open or that someone's there to pick up the phone. Or you can manipulate your settings to ensure that more people are seeing your ads during the time of day where they're more likely to buy. Making smart choices about all of this targeting is really going to help that bottom line in terms of your conversion rate optimization. Another great way to get rid of bad traffic coming to your site is to spend some time analyzing your search query reports. Now this picture is from our query stream tool in WordStream. Others may go to Google AdWords and look at their C search terms report, but essentially what you want to look for here is all of the search queries that are matching to your current keywords. And as you look through your search queries, you may start to see that you're actually connecting to queries that have nothing to do with what you offer. So this particular client, as you can see, they're bidding on the keyword edit in a manuscript campaign, and they're showing up for edit photo BBM. Now they do editing for student newspapers, so they certainly don't want to be showing up to edit photos, right? This is a terrible keyword for their account. It's way too broad. Phrase match does nothing if they have a one keyword term. So we absolutely want to ensure that we're tweaking that keyword to be a better fit for the account. Moreover, we probably want to go the extra mile to set words like photo or BBM as a negative, because we don't want to be showing up for people who are looking for photo editing. Right? These are really, really simple tweaks, and if you've never spent time in your search query report, oh my gosh, you need to dive in immediately. I mean, this is a treasure trove of new keyword research, but also a great way to just get rid of crappy things that you're connecting to and ensuring, again, that you're bringing relevant, qualified traffic to your site. Number 3 falls in kind of the same bucket of eliminating unqualified searchers, and that's that you want to prime visitors to convert early on. So I like to think of this as pre-qualifying your visitors. The more information you can give them prior to the click is amazing, right? And if you think about a Google shopping ad, this is the perfect venue to do this. If you sell a product, give them this Google shopping ad, and what will people see? They're going to see an image of the item that they're searching for. They'll see the price, and sometimes they'll even see special offers or deals. Now, if I'm looking for a Lily Pulitzer dress, there's a million Lily Pulitzer dresses out there. And there's also some cheap ones, some used ones, and some ridiculously expensive ones. So if I do this search and I see these shopping ads ahead of time, I can quickly look and see what's a good fit for me. And more importantly, I can rule out the options that are too expensive for my budget, or frankly, are ugly. This is an awesome way to pre-qualify your visitors. Make sure that you're only enabling clicks for people who are actually deeming themselves a good fit for you. You can also use some clever ways to inspire users to actually take action when they see your ads. So I don't know if you guys are using ad customizers. If you're not, I highly recommend taking the time to learn about these and set them up. I would venture to say they're one of the most revolutionary things that Google has come out with in 2015. So the way an ad customizer works is it essentially allows you to add a snippet of code within your ad that can do a number of different functionalities. My favorite are countdowns to the end of a sale, countdowns to the number of products you have available, and then also sale information. And what you can do is leverage this concept of FOMO. I don't know if you've heard of FOMO. It means fear of missing out. And when you look at, a dwindling product supply or a sale that's about to end, good Lord, you may not be ready to make a purchase, but by God, are you going to do it? And I know this because I fall prey to these things all the time. I feel like I'm going to miss out on, some pair of shoes I was thinking about buying. But when I realized it was my last chance to do it, I took the plunge and bought them anyway because I didn't want to miss out. And we actually see, this is pure human psychology, that as people start to see these sales ends or quantity going down, your conversion rate bumps up to 3 times what it was before. This incredible way to force people to convert quickly. And you'll see J.Crew doing this all the time. It's like they perpetually utilize things like ad customizers and just general sales. And you can see these are through marketing emails. And they are just constantly giving people this carrot to a sale. And it works. Like you would think it doesn't work because it's a little bit boy who cried wolf, okay, they have another sale. But they wouldn't keep doing it if the results weren't astounding. And for our clients that we've utilized this concept of a perpetual sale through ad customizers, the results have just been phenomenal. So I absolutely recommend spending some time looking into ad customizers and enabling them. And the cool is you can use them for just about any industry. I know a lot of the new ad formats are vertical specific. People feel like they can't use shopping ads if they're not e-commerce, which is true. So capitalize on these ad customizers. They're going to be a really nice way to boost your performance regardless of the industry that you're working in. And that leads me to number 4, using consistent messaging. And I mean consistent messaging throughout the entirety of your of the search experience. So how many times has this happened to you? Let's say you look for piano lessons, specifically looking for piano lessons. That's what I typed into the SERP. I saw this ad, hey, get lessons at your local Guitar Center store. I was like, all right, perfect, piano lessons it is. And this is where I end up. I mean, this is crazy town. This is totally convoluted. I don't even know where to sign up for lessons. And there's a million calls to action on this page. It's like, am I supposed to be calling and coming into the store? You seem to want me to rent band and orchestra instruments. And then all the way down in the middle of the page, totally nondescript, I see find an expert that presumably could teach me some sort of an instrument. I don't even go to a piano-specific page. I mean, this is a disastrous experience. Why? Because it doesn't feature one clear call to action. You know, they're telling me I can get lessons, and then all of a sudden I make it to the page, and it's like I can't even figure out how. I also see this a lot. People make these promises they can't keep. Now, God knows I can't afford a new car. But when I see a sales event, I was like, okay, maybe, maybe the perfect Mini is out there waiting for me, just like the ad says. It's on sale, might as well click. And then I make it to the landing page, and it's like, where's the sale? The sale is what hooked me, and it's not even prominently featured on the landing page. Moreover, I can't find it. Like, it doesn't seem to exist. That is a disastrous experience. Again, you lost me. I'm going to hightail it out of here because I only came knowing that there was a sale. The ideal message flow that you want to happen is you want your keyword to match the messaging offered in the ad text. And then you want to send people to a landing page that accurately reflects everything you see in the ad. So this Massage Envy is on point, right? They're pushing me to get a $49.99 package, easy to do on the landing page. The call to action is to schedule my message. Well, right there it is. Schedule my massage, request my appointment. It's very, very, very clear. So this is how you want to be thinking of setting up your campaigns. If you plant this idea in their head of what you want them to do, and then prominently feature that call to action on the landing page, that's going to set you up for success. There you go. Hack number 5 is to experiment with different offerings. I love this one. So I think when it comes to offers, it is so easy to get stuck in a rut. I mean, I know WordStream as a software company for like years. We offered the same exact offer on our landing page because it was like, this is what software companies do, and this is what works for us. And also, you tend to follow the pack. Again, this is what software companies do. It makes sense to do this. And here's the example. I mean, for years, we were just offering you a free trial. First off, it was very unclear even what this entailed. The landing page wasn't great to begin with. I think we can all agree here. But most importantly, the offer is boring. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to give it a free trial. That's what every single software company is doing. And it's what all of our competitors are doing. So finally, it occurred to someone, it's like, let's switch it up. We know it's not working because the conversion rate stinks. It's below average. We have prospects coming in through chat lines. We hear feedback from the sales team. They're not asking to set up a free trial. They're asking for PPC help. They were actually asking whether they needed PPC help. They were coming to us and saying, you know, I'm not sure where I fall in comparison to others. I know that I could be doing more with PPC, but I don't know where there's areas of opportunity. So we had this crazy revelation. It was like, oh my God, they're just not that into this offer. And rather than us jamming our product down their throats from the get-go, what we need to do is satisfy their needs, answer their questions, give them what they're looking for, hook them, and then go in for the kill. Then encourage them to sign up for our platform. So we were like, hold up, just give the people what they want. And what did we find? it had a tremendous impact. So I'll talk about this later on the call today, but this is our grader report. And the idea of the grader report is we answer those questions that our customers wanted to know. Those burning questions like, how do you stack up against your competitors? Where in your account is lacking success? And what do you need to do to fix it? So we gave them this as the initial offer, engaged with them, and then gave them the opportunity to do the trial. And in fact, they were better equipped to do the trial specifically because they now knew what they needed to work on. We got a 5 times higher conversion rate. I mean, this is mind-blowing. This is what made our company successful, just tweaking this offer. So I encourage you, get outside of whatever rut you're in. Don't follow the pack. Experiment with something new, and you could see similar impressive results. Number 6 is change your sign-up flow. I love this one. I bet you guys are all yawning at your desks as you look at this, but this is like the most boring software download form. And everybody sees it. It's like, you know, asking a million questions before you download something. Some of them inane, like, oh, what's your birthday? What do you care what my birthday is? I'm just trying to download some software. We see this all the time. You get scared away by these long, tedious forms, and again, nobody converts. So why not clear out that path to conversion? Make it easier for people to convert. This is my favorite example. This was really clever. This was another software company, and instead of going that route of that obnoxious, tedious, long form initially, they first gave people the opportunity to download the software. And then before they could complete the final step in that download, they asked people to fill out a form. These people had already invested time in the download. They were excited about the download. They had already committed to it. So filling out the form at this point made so much more sense. It fell in line with what they needed to do, and people were much more likely to complete the form and finalize that transaction. So I thought this was really clever. You know, I love when people shorten the form. I think that's great, but this is like a really innovative way of encouraging people to do a form fill. Give them what they want first. Make this the last step of the process. This is another cool thing that someone did. They let the users almost pick their own adventure. So oftentimes you get site traffic. If it's not super specific traffic, you may not know exactly what they're looking for. So let them pick a path that works for them. And especially if a conversion looks different for a different type of visitor, this is going to be incredibly valuable. So this was a addiction help website, a rehab center, and they gave people the opportunity to say whether they were the ones struggling, whether someone they loved needed help, or if they just wanted to talk to somebody and wanted to call or contact immediately. So by allowing people to pick their own path, that flow ended up resulting in significantly more conversions. Number 7. Get creative with your imagery. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's incredible. We saw Google very briefly release image extensions, which they have since gotten rid of, but we saw tremendous results when we showed people pictures alongside their ad text. Same thing with shopping ads, right? That picture is really compelling to people. When it comes to pictures on your landing page, don't take that lightly. Don't slap up whatever picture works. How many times do we see these crappy pictures like stock images? Oh, stock images make me insane. It's like no one can relate to them. Everyone knows that they're a stock image, and they feel totally faux and scripted and just awful. Same thing we see down below. Crappy images. Like, nobody took the time to bring in a professional photographer. I don't want to see just some random lady on the beach with a ballet parachute. I want to see nice, professionally done pictures. So if you have stock photos, images of poor quality, images that don't connect with your audience, it's time to step back and reevaluate the photos on your landing page. If any of you guys are familiar with Ollie Gardner at Unbound, He is like one of my favorite landing page gurus to follow, and he talks a lot about the concept of a hero shot. So don't just show your product. Like, this is a really, really nice lipstick, the Dior Addict lipstick. But if you just show me a tube of lipstick, take it or leave it, right? Not very compelling. Now, if you can aim for that hero shot where you show the lipstick in use, you can show people how that product actually works, give people the opportunity to imagine themselves with that lipstick, just like Kate Moss, looking beautiful. They're significantly more likely to make that conversion. So aim for that hero shot. Take the time to show your product in action. Angie Schottmuller, who is also a really prominent CRO specialist, she always gives the example of this Jeep hammock called the Jammock. And on their landing pages, for the longest time, they had this picture of a Jeep hammock. And it was like, what the heck is that thing for? It looked like some strange, like, web apparatus. All of a sudden, they put a picture of somebody actually hanging the hammock in their Jeep. It was awesome. It was like, who wouldn't want a hammock for their Jeep? But until you saw it in action, it was like, why would I buy that strange web? It looked like a hanging cocoon. So showing your product in action is really going to make that difference for the people who end up on your site. Another creative thing you can do is actually infuse text and images. So a lot of times, I think for people who have really like not such exciting products, for example, like Intuit Go Payment, what a boring product to be advertising. So what they did is they showed a picture, and then they actually infused some of their product information within that image. Pretty sneaky, right? HubSpot did the same thing. And I know it's a little bit tough to see here, but they had these like massive bullet points that no one was reading. They condensed them, put them within an image, and boom, they saw this 3% increase in conversions. Now this particular instance, it wasn't super high, but my point is, get creative. If you can use these creative tweaks, every little bit will help you get to that higher rate. This is another thing I loved. I pulled this from Unbounce's website. This was one of their clients who experimented with video. Now, a lot of people have video collateral either from their YouTube advertising, other landing pages. Try putting it on your landing page. What we tend to see is it's yielding significantly higher conversion rates. So you can see for this particular client, without video, they were only having about a 6.5 average conversion rate. The second they put an interactive video on there, their conversion rate flew up. They got a 100% increase in conversions. They doubled conversions. I mean, this is incredible, and it's such a small change. Like, they literally already had created that video. It was just a matter of putting it in a lightbox on their landing page. So these types of experiments, really going the extra mile with your images, or even going as far as making videos, tend to have a significant impact on your conversion rate. Number 8, this one is huge. This one hits home. This is like near and dear to my heart. Revitalize your mobile landing pages. Why is this so near and dear to me? Because in the PPC world, we're like obsessed with mobile. SEO too. I mean, mobile got in. People are saying it's finally really the year of mobile. And it's true, because we're seeing more searches on mobile than on desktop. In fact, for some demographics, we're actually seeing the majority of searches are coming from mobile phones. More people even own mobile phones than desktop computers. So this is a huge shift in the industry, and we need to react to it. Now, I bet every single one of you could spend about 5 minutes on your smartphone and find mobile sites that are just as crappy as these. I mean, these are mind-blowing. They're hideous, they're outdated, no one wants to spend time on these sites, and they are mobile sites. Somebody took the time, probably 5 years ago, to create these. And why did they do it? Because everyone was pushing, just get some crappy mobile site online. Why did we build these crappy mobile sites? Oh, God, I mean, they're painful. Oh, because mobile devices are slow. Well, that's a total cop-out. Mobile devices absolutely are not slow anymore. In fact, I watch Netflix solely on my phone. I mean, I am watching full-on movies on my phone, and they're loading quicker than sometimes my laptop will. So we can't kind of rely on this crutch that mobile devices are slow. And we certainly can't rely on the fact that mobile screens are tiny. They're getting bigger. In fact, we call some phones tablets because they're basically tablets. You can't even fit them in your back pocket. So this crutch that so many of us are falling on, this kind of like excuse for our crappy mobile landing pages, is totally unwarranted. We really can't rely on that anymore. And usage stats show us the exact same thing. What do we see for the number of people switching a full site? It's a significant portion of people. They're getting to these mobile landing pages, recognizing that they're really not finding what they need, and these landing pages are just frankly hideous. And so they're actually going the route of going to the full site, which defeats the point of a mobile landing page altogether. What's even more painful for these advertisers is they're actually seeing higher conversion rates on their full site while people are on their mobile phones than their mobile designated site. Literally, the mobile sites are backfiring. It's wild. Why create a mobile site if it's not going to do the work for you? So take the time to build a mobile site. If you don't have the time to build a mobile site, because I know many of you probably don't right now, you can put it on the back burner for a little bit using some creative ad methods. So what you can do is bypass landing pages altogether. Now this is pretty tricky. I love this idea. So the first thing is capture leads directly from ads. You can do this on Twitter. You can do it on Facebook. Currently, I don't believe you can do it in AdWords, and it's in beta on Bing. But this is amazing. This is the ability to actually capture a lead directly from your ad. That lead fill is directly within your ad text. So this is a great way to bypass your landing pages, not even send anybody there, and encourage them to convert automatically off the ad. You can also encourage searchers to give you a phone call. This is also becoming huge, guys. It's really easy to do. You can set up these call extensions, and what we're seeing is people are 9 times more likely to place a call from a mobile SERP than from your actual desktop computer. This is crazy, right? Like, people aren't going to mobile landing pages. People are clicking on this click to call button, and they want to connect with you. So give them that opportunity, especially if your mobile landing pages are anything like the ones we just looked at. Give them the opportunity to call. Don't let them make it to your mobile landing page until you've found the time and the resources to create a truly worthwhile, high-functioning mobile landing page. You can even go the extra mile with this by using call-only campaigns. So this is a recent brainchild of AdWords. I feel like they read advertisers' minds because so many of us wanted this, and then all of a sudden they released it. But essentially what these are is they don't even give people the opportunity to click on a landing page. They eliminate the link to a mobile landing page altogether and just show your call extension, literally pushing people to call. I mean, that is like a perfect win, particularly for those of you who just haven't gotten the chance to create a great mobile landing page. And then finally, my number 10 hack is to use remarketing to convert abandoners. So think of remarketing as a CRO tool. Right now, when we think of a traditional CRO win, as we originally defined it early on in the call, if you can take a 1% conversion rate from a 3% conversion rate, you are celebrating. You are like patting yourself on the back. Way to go. I tripled my conversion rate. And then you look at that picture again, and it's like, wait a second. I may have brought those dots from a 1 to a 3, but I'm leaving 97% of my people on the table. 97% of people aren't converting. And that's actually quite devastating. It's like, what a fail. What a disappointment. Even if you're converting 10%, you're still leaving 90% on the table. People that you've actively gotten to your site. So think about remarketing. This is really cool. We have a 99% abandon rate or 97% abandon rate. Rather than just calling it a day and assuming these people aren't going to convert, rethink the picture here. What you can do is remarket to these people you've already invested time and energy in, people who have already invested time and energy about learning about you and your products. Maybe they've gone as far as to put something in a shopping cart and then just didn't have time to make the purchase. Maybe they got distracted. Maybe they're waiting for their next paycheck. Get them back. Bring them back into the fold. Re-engage those people. And remarketing is the perfect and frankly easiest way to just totally nail that. So I'll give you an example. Even though I work in this space, I am a sad victim to remarketing. I went to Marblehead, Massachusetts about a year ago. And while I was there, this was like a very she town. I was staying at one of my wealthy friends' parents' houses, and they had stocked the fridge with gourmet ice cream. If any of you guys are familiar, I know there are a couple of people from Ohio on this call. Jenny's ice cream. It's made in Ohio. It's the best ice cream you could ever taste. So I had it while I was in Marblehead, and I thought to myself, okay, great, enjoyed it. I'm never buying this again. I would never buy it for myself. It's far too expensive, and God knows I don't need it for my waistline, like a million reasons not to buy it. But because I enjoyed it so much, every once in a while I'd scroll around on their website, check out their new flavors, and they started remarketing to me. And I stayed strong. I saw that ad 2 times, 3 times. I didn't sink any money on the ice cream, and I knew I didn't need it. But after I'd seen that ad 6 or 7 times, I started to break down. And next thing you know, I bought the ice cream. And I didn't just buy the 1 pint that I wanted to, because they had been remarketing to me with different images and different options, things that I had looked at online. All of a sudden, I was like, holy crap, I need to buy everything that I wanted. I might as well just go full throttle. And next thing you know, I had spent nearly $60 on remarketing, or on ice cream. And it was all because of remarketing, because it was persistently in my brain, this thing that I knew that I wanted. And it was slowly breaking me down and encouraged me to just take the plunge. So remarketing absolutely works, and it's a great way to re-engage and recapture people who have already demonstrated interest in your offering. Oops. So those are my top 10 hacks. I do think Kelly saved some time for questions at the end of the webinar, so we can certainly dive into more detail if anybody has any questions. But I think those are some great ways to really manipulate your PPC efforts to ensure that you're bringing in more and more conversions to your account. So I'll turn things back over to Kelly.
Great. Thanks so much, Erin. That was awesome. Before we jump right into questions, which you still have time to submit them, so I definitely encourage you to take advantage of Erin's time here and let us know if you have any questions. But while we're waiting for those to come in, we have some special offers for you today that I'd love for you guys to take advantage of. The first is a free live demo of the WordStream Advisor. So we'll walk you through what our software can do for you and how we can help you basically make your PPC into 20 minutes a week. The second offer we have for you today is sitting down with an AdWords certified consultant and having them assess your AdWords and see how you're performing. And also, they'll really take the time to identify different opportunities that you guys can take advantage of to increase your conversions. And then finally, if you don't need any help with your PPC right now, let us know that as well. So while you guys are answering that, let's get to some questions. All right, Erin, what's a good example of a hero image for a white paper?
Good question. I mean, it's definitely dependent on the offer that you're providing. Usually with white papers, we're seeing it's like longer term products. or services, not like your typical e-commerce, so it's tough to do just like a great product shot. What you can think of for that hero shot for your white paper is you want to ensure that if you're putting an image of a person, that they're connecting with the audience. So for example, there was a really interesting presentation I saw where the clients were using the same pictures in their white papers and on their website for all different international audiences, rather than changing the image of the person to connect with the person who is actually reading it. So if you're working with a Chinese market, you want to feature someone who's Asian on your website or your white paper. So that's a great way to connect with people. Ensure that the person in the image is looking at the call to action at the end of that white paper or within that white paper. That's a good way to draw eyes that direction. If you're offering a service, definitely if you can show any sort of image of that service in action, or again, the product in action, that's going to be beneficial. But it really depends on whatever you're offering in that white paper for sure. And if you want to send me over some specifics, I can definitely shoot you over some ideas. You can tweet at me, or I think there'll be an email after the webinar that you can send to.
There sure will be. All right, next question. You ended kind of on remarketing and the importance of it. So how can you locate people who clicked on your website to remarket to them? Basically, like, how can you get started with remarketing?
Absolutely. We have a ton of remarketing guides on the WordStream website. There are a couple of different ways you can do remarketing through AdWords of varying levels of sophistication. So if you want to go kind of the easiest route, I recommend setting up a remarketing campaign through AdWords. You can start to define the people that you're remarketing to, set up some exclusions. I personally like to cater my remarketing campaigns to the type of visitors I'm getting. So for example, I'm more interested in remarketing to somebody who's clicked on a product and actually put it in their cart than just somebody who's made it to my homepage. Maybe if I am selling to somebody, or if I've already had somebody complete a purchase on my website and I know they're not going to come back and make another purchase, I would want to eliminate them. So there's all sorts of caveats you can set up through AdWords, but essentially you set up this remarketing campaign with some of those stipulations, and then what you'll do is AdWords is going to start to build up kind of a list of people that they're going to cookie. And those people that they've cookied who fit your criteria, they'll start to show the ads to them through the display network. And they can be image ads or text ads. And from there, you'll start to see your remarketing campaigns flourish. So that's kind of a high level of how they work. But if you're looking for details and you want a kind of step-by-step guide, definitely check out the website. We have a ton of stuff on our blog.
Great. Now we have somebody in the B2B field, and they are wondering, you know, some of the hacks that you talked about today seem to work great for kind of impulse or emotional purchases, such as maybe the ice cream example or the shoe example. But how well will they work for B2B purchases, or is it more logic to use something different?
You know, I think people tend to underestimate the importance of psychology, regardless if it's B2B or B2C. I think the key here is to think about what's driving the decisions of that B2B buyer. I mean, there's still a highly emotional component. For example, with a sale, it doesn't matter what you're selling. A business is still going to have the same kind of fear of missing out. It's not quite the same thing. They may not take the plunge quite as quickly, but you absolutely still want to appeal to that emotion and appeal to it on that broader scale. So I think you can still utilize a lot of these tactics for B2B.
Great. Now you started off the presentation today talking about A/B tests. Now would you recommend just testing one thing at once? Can you go ahead and test maybe the button color and an image at the same time, or would you try to streamline it and keep it to one? And then the second part of that question is, when do you know when you have enough data to determine a winner? Like, how long do you think you should typically run these tests?
Okay. two good questions. So the first thing is, I definitely recommend testing one thing at a time, just because it's going to give you kind of a truer idea of the impact of said change. I think it's fun. Like, if you want to test a button color, test away. I guess my point is you're typically not going to see this like huge increase with those types of things. So it's probably not going to yield this like amazing result. I would put more emphasis on testing bigger changes that you make. It's also tedious to run a bunch of tests for like these tiny little things, unless you are truly that data driven that you want to know, or maybe your employer wants to know. In terms of the amount of time you're going to invest in these A/B tests, it really depends on the amount of traffic that you're getting to your site. There's a bunch of online resources to help you determine what would be statistically significant information to make that final assessment, but you'll want to cater it on the amount of volume you yourself happen to be getting.
Great. Now going to the different images that you were talking about and the importance of them, what if I don't have a super high budget for creative or no budget at all? Can I do anything to get better imagery there? Should I set aside money for that budget? Kind of walk through how to overcome that challenge.
I've seen some people take a really cool route of doing this, where they've reached out to their customers and asked them to provide images, oftentimes via Instagram. It's amazing. I mean, first off, if you're asking your customers to provide images of your products or services in action, automatically you're almost getting like an endorsement or a testimonial from that person, and you can probably snag a testimonial from them, like an actual written testimonial to go alongside it. It's also great because people can show your product in action, give real life examples of people utilizing it, and you can oftentimes play around with Instagram filters to actually create a pretty good looking image. I mean, obviously you want to make sure it's very clear, easy to see the product in action. Obviously you want to make sure you have whoever is submitting that permission, but that's like a kind of a unique way to do it. That said, I still absolutely recommend setting aside budget for your images. It's an important component to your website, and if you can't get good stuff from your users, then start to make a plan to get some more professional images.
Great. Now I think we have time for one last question. You talked about forms a little bit and the different fields you should be asking and what you really need to capture. Is there a right or wrong kind of secret sauce to how long forms should be? Is shorter always better? Kind of talk through that a little bit.
Oh my God, there are a million opinions on this. I would say the overarching idea is get as little information as you can from somebody, as long as you have what you need to ensure that they're a good lead. So cut out any unnecessary segments of your form. That's if you're looking to get as much traffic as possible and you have the time to really connect with all these people. So general rule of thumb, the shorter form, the better. However, I have seen people intentionally provide longer forms to weed out unqualified traffic. So they will see lower conversion rates maybe in terms of that form fill, but if they're getting more qualified traffic and if their sales force is calling these people, and that's a significant time investment, it's a great way to kind of weed out unqualified people. So you have to figure out what works for you and your business. Definitely a good thing to test.
Great. Well, everyone, if we didn't get to your question today, I'm sorry. You can definitely follow up with Erin. She'll be following up with all of you with an email later today, so you'll have her email if you'd like to just email her directly, or as she mentioned earlier, you can reach out to her on Twitter. She's very active on there, so you can get a hold of her there. I'd like to thank you, Erin, for all of your time today. And thank all of you for attending. And again, should you wish to discuss anything covered today in more detail, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help. And again, the presentation, both the slides and the recording, will be distributed via email later on this afternoon, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. And thanks, and have a great day, and we hope to see you at a future webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.